Well, we're here with the 22nd General of the Salvation Army, General Lyndon Buckingham, the first New Zealander to be General of the worldwide Salvation Army.
Wow.
General, thank you for being a part of this Peer Magazine interview.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
And to start off, I want to hear a little bit about your background, your experience with Jesus, how you came to know the Lord. What was your first encounter with Christ?
You know, it's an interesting story, and it comes in two parts, if I can give you two parts. When I was about 6 or 7 years of age, I was with my parents at a congress. And the preacher, whom I can't remember, issued an invitation at the end of his sermon. And he said, if anybody would like to meet Jesus, come down to the front. And so I got up out of my seat, and I went down to the front to meet Jesus. And when I got down to the front, I noticed that everybody was kind of kneeling, you know, at the mercy seat. So I went and knelt at the mercy seat. And in my young mind, I was absolutely convinced that I was about to meet Jesus, right? And then I felt an arm come around my shoulder. I got quite excited, right? And then this person started speaking to me. Lyndon, God bless you. And I thought to myself, Jesus sounds like my Uncle Wes. Right? So then I had to have a look. And I had a look, and it wasn't Jesus, it was my Uncle Wes. And I have to tell you that in those moments, there was a real disappointment in my heart. Because in my young mind, I thought I was actually going to meet Jesus. But who I met was my Uncle Wes. And the impact that had on a young boy, it's stayed with me, because we've got to be so careful about the words we use, how we're explaining the gospel, what we're saying to people from the pulpit. You know, I'd rather be accused of being oversimplistic, right, than confusing. I was confused and I was disappointed. And from that moment, right through, I became a junior soldier. I played in the junior band. I sang in the singing company. I did, you know, my parents were officers. I became a cultural salvationist. I was doing all the stuff. But in the back of my mind, there was this kind of disappointment and doubt. It's not that I didn't believe, I just kind of lost interest, just going through the motions. Worries me, because I think that description, sort of cultural salvationists, can be really real. If you've been brought up or raised up within the movement, you can be going through all the stuff and not really have the experience. And in 1979, as a, I don't know, maybe 17 or 17 and a half years of age, I attended a youth conference, a youth council, Salvation Army youth councils. And it was in the Sunday meeting of that youth councils that, boom, just like that, God made himself real to me. And I suddenly became aware that God was actually revealing to me the depth of his love, the depth of his concern, the depths of his passion for me as an individual. That this good news was good news for me, that it was like for me personally. And I can only describe it as just an incredibly emotional experience. And I found myself at the mercy seat, don't even remember going there, kind of found myself there, full of gratitude, full of joy, full of repentance. I was kind of crying and laughing at the same time. And I felt like the presence of God was coming alive in me. This was my conversion experience. It was deeply real. It wasn't just intellectual, it was emotional, and it was physical. And I can't deny the reality of it. I love talking about it and testifying to it. And although I'm now an old guy, the reality is that I can remember that experience and those moments like as though it happened last week.
Wow.
So that was the 12th of August, 1979. And the thing about that, Caleb, is I was so excited about what was going on in my heart and my mind and my life that I reached forward and grabbed an officer candidate's piece of paper, and I signed up. I offered myself for officership. I hadn't even had a calling. I didn't wait. I signed it. 12th of August, 1979. And you tear it in half, and half of it goes to the DY, and half of it you keep. And I still have that half in my Bible to this day as a constant reminder of that beautiful experience where I became aware, both in my head and in my heart, of the reality of God as the creator of the universe, expressing his love and care and concern for me in the person of Jesus Christ.
It's such an overwhelming experience. You can hear that sense of overwhelm in your description.
Totally
just
overwhelmed.
Laughter and crying and just this, sort of incredible overflow of the love of God. And you go from that experience and you continue the Son of Salvation Army officers in the same friend group, I imagine. Going to the Corps. What do you think made the difference for you as you continued on in your faith to keep your faith? People of your generation, many ended up leaving the faith. What do you think made the difference?
I think, there's a number of things, but I would have to say that for me, first of all, I know it's different for everybody, so it's not the same for everybody. And I wouldn't want to push a formula onto anybody, but my own testimony would be the reality of that experience became undeniable in my life. So if there were moments in my maturing years of doubt or disappointment or frustration or whatever, that experience was an undeniable experience. So I had to track, my current feelings or frustrations or temptations through the reality of that experience. So going back to those moments where God's love was manifested in your life in such a way that you knew. I've found that through those years, going back and reliving that experience, rethinking about that experience has helped me. I think for me, the discipline of staying connected to a community of faith and not connected on the fringe, but kind of in there, in it all, that discipleship journey, allowing people to speak into your life, being committed to reading the Word and understanding what it's saying to you in terms of your life. So I think some of those disciplines of the faith, God definitely used to hold me. And I think my willingness to be in boots and all, if I can use that phrase, I don't know whether that translates, but I've just said it now, boots and all. Like being in it fully is, I think, what held me for sure. And I do worry because I think that there's a lot of younger followers who, for whatever reason, prefer to sort of sit on the periphery. They kind of sit on the edges of it. Because I think in this day and age, there's so much choice. There's so much possibility. There's so many things that can engage your mind or your energy or your passion or distract you that you sort of want to keep your options open. So I understand that. But I also think there's a cost to that because then you're not fully into anything. And I don't think you can really experience the fullness of Christ and the fullness of being a believer if you're kind of holding back. I think you got to jump right in. And I think that's what held me as a young person was that whatever you do, go after it with all your heart, right? So I think that's what I did. I think that and good, mature disciples of Jesus around me, who were role models or whose testimony said something to me, they were things that held me for sure.
Yeah. Reminds me, I was reading this morning in 2 Peter where it talks about adding to your faith self-control and then endurance and then goodness and being engaged in the core in that way and adding that experience of the church, that participation of the church is so crucial.
I wouldn't know that I would have been able to describe it then, but looking back now, I would say that decision to apprentice yourself to Jesus and learn of his ways is the best way to hold you in the journey. So, if I was speaking to young people today, I would say, beyond the salvation experience is a decision that you make that you want to apprentice yourself to Jesus. You want to become a disciple follower of Jesus. Because if you decide that's what I want to do, then you're going to do all of the things that you need to do to keep that alive in your life. And I think that's what the planet needs right now. It needs young people who are discipling themselves after Jesus.
And pursuing him in a deeper way.
Definitely. Not just head, but heart. And not just head and heart, but action. Lifestyle, living it in the space on the planet. Salt, light, aroma of Christ on the planet. If you're looking for a purpose for your life, why not live as a child of God on the planet? I mean, come on. Does the world need that right now? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's beauty, isn't it? I mean, I think that's one of the things that's beautiful about the Salvation Army, is that there's plenty of opportunities within this part of the body of Christ, that if you make that determination that actually what I want to be is a sold-out follower of the Lord Jesus Christ, there's plenty of opportunity within this movement to live that out, to give expression to it, to fulfill the mission that God has entrusted to His people in this generation. The movement provides copious amounts of space for a young person to live that out.
Now, you have a fairly active social media presence, if I do say so. I mean,
yes.
you have some support in that.
Yeah, I can't take any responsibility. The only thing that I've done is made myself available. And other people are kind of capitalizing on that through Facebook and our website and other bits and pieces. And I recognize the importance of the space. And so
don't sell yourself short, though. I mean, you're on social media and have been, and I think people want to know, what is your preferred social media app? You personally, what do you go to?
I think this is a sign of my age, but I probably use Facebook.
You're on the book.
I'm on Facebook. Probably Instagram would be next, but I think probably I would defer to Facebook, because all of the people of my age and generation, all my friends, right? My hundreds of friends around the Army world seem to be of a generation that uses Facebook.
Not on TikTok yet, maybe. Or
I don't know whether the comms team have got me on TikTok.
Not.
I don't know.
Maybe
we
might be breaking ground now.
We might get there. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so in addition to being on social media, you're also a fan of sports. You follow sports.
Yes.
And you have a favorite sports team and a favorite sport. So what is your favorite sport and your favorite sports team?
Okay, so my favorite sport is rugby union.
Okay.
Favorite team, I guess, would be the national team, the All Blacks. They're a pretty world famous team. I'm an avid supporter.
The New Zealand All Blacks.
New Zealand All Blacks. And a local team back home in New Zealand would be the Hurricanes, which is a Wellington-based rugby team.
Did you play rugby growing up?
At high school, yeah, and with a couple of army groups in my late teens in Auckland, I played. Not very well. And of course today, I'm completely the wrong size and shape for the modern game, but back then it didn't matter so much. But yeah, love the game. Yeah.
You never know. You maybe have other abilities that you're just being humble right now.
Yeah.
You're the first general ever to play on the SA Gaming Network, which is this wonderful ministry that the Central Territory heads up in the
we were there
States.
At the Congress, right?
And you played on the video game network there. And,
I played Mario Kart.
You played Mario Kart.
Yeah. They asked me, what do you want to play? I said, the only thing I know is Mario Kart.
Well, tell me about it. Is that your favorite video game? Do you have a favorite video game?
I don't know whether it's the favorite video game, but I know that when we've visited at home with Dan and Juanita, our boys, Israel and Toby, our grandsons, you know, they have PlayStation and they're doing these things real easy. So when they invited Bronnie and I to play with them, they picked something they thought we would be able to do.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be Mario Kart, right? Because you can, like, beginner level of Mario Kart, just sort of stare and push and whatever. But so I'm saying Mario Kart because it's the only one that I have any degree of familiarity with.
But you do own a PlayStation 4, I've heard. Yeah.
Well, I bought a PlayStation 4 because my grandsons were visiting from New Zealand to London a couple of years ago. And I wanted an indoor activity in case London can rain, right? Even in the summer. So I bought a brand new PlayStation 4, which I set up for them. And they used it while they were there. And I tried to use it a little bit. And the day they went home, I turned it off, right? And it hasn't been turned on since. So that's 2 years. It's been sitting underneath my television, completely unused. So it's in good condition.
Yeah, well...
It'll come in one day. When we retire, you know,
you don't have a ton of free time when you're leading the International Army.
Correct.
I think that's probably fair to say.
That's probably true.
Although you should have a handle, and then we should, kind of spread the news that the general has a handle, and just occasionally pop on.
I should pop on, shouldn't
SA
I?
Gaming. I mean,
I should get
that'd
in
be pretty cool. Okay, and then for young people who are interested in marriage, do you have any relationship advice? Any advice to people looking for a future husband or wife?
Wow, I have said to people in the past, it's better to be single than married to the wrong person. So take your time. You will know when you'll know when you know, right? And so I know that with my own daughter growing up, I was always keen to kind of reinforced to her how she should be treated and what she should be looking for in a man, and honor and integrity and honesty and all these sorts of things. So I think taking physical attraction and the sort of the push of that, moving beyond that to take your time to understand a person, what makes them tick, what motivates them, who are they answering to, what are their goals in life. These are really important things to explore. And sometimes, if I can be frank, sometimes hormones get in the way of exploring what you're really needing to know if you're going to make a lifetime commitment to somebody, right? So seeking the Lord for wisdom and strength to push beyond just natural attraction to understanding what makes this person tick and what can I expect if I'm going to build a life with this person. You will be able to see that over time in a dating scenario, right? So
looking beyond the Riz.
Correct.
The Riz is there.
Correct.
But you got to look past the Riz.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the Riz, right? But I think if you're talking about lifetime commitment to somebody, you need to kind of use your brain here a little bit as well, right? And make some judgment calls about
That's great advice. That's great advice.
what you're looking for.
Okay, General, as you come to the end here, just a couple more questions for you. What's something that you wish every young adult in the Salvation Army knew? Whether about the Salvation Army or just about faith in general, or something else, something you wish every young adult in the Salvation Army knew.
I think the passion of my heart is that I would want that every young person in the Salvation Army, and indeed on the planet, would know head and heart just how important they are to the Creator of the universe. I just wish kids would know that He has made incredible overtures towards all of us, and most intimately in the person of Jesus Christ, to help us to understand how for us He really is, right? And so if every young person could have an understanding of the extent of God's love and interest for them, that leads to an inquisitiveness about the nature of that relationship and how He might want to use me going forward, right? So that understanding that God has plan and purpose and dreams and ideas about you and what you can accomplish on the planet, I would want young people within the army to know that, and that He has a vision for the people of God on the planet, and that the Salvation Army provides a beautiful platform to give expression to that. That's what I would like.
And what would you say to those who are maybe worrying about the future, about their future in the Salvation Army perhaps, or just the future in general? There's so much, it seems, that young people can have anxiety about today, and not without reason. But what would you say to them to help?
I think that's a really good question, and I think I totally would want to acknowledge that there is a growing uncertainty on the planet right now. Wars and greed and selfishness and misuse of power, challenges to morality and fidelity. It's all, there's a lot to be concerned about on the planet. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot to be concerned about it. And it can become incredibly distracting to young people. Some people just throw in the towel. What's the point? There's things going to pot anyway, so why should I worry, right? There's others that just become completely despondent about the nature of the state of the world, right? And whilst I understand it, I think against the backdrop of that is in fact the people of God. Our faith and our hope is living, and it's real, and it's based on the promises of God revealed in the person of Jesus Christ, who invites us to not listen to the noise of the world, but to engage in the work that He's doing on the planet, which is redemption and reconciliation and new life and transformation and hope and grace and love. These tools, these weapons in the world bring about change. And the problem that we've got is it's not reported in the BBC or on Fox or on CNN. You don't hear this stuff, so you think it's not happening, but it totally is. I can testify to it. It totally is. So for a young person to have hope in this day, I would say get on with being the people of God on the planet. And not only will you experience hope yourself, but you'll be a hope bringer to others and to your own generation, right? So whilst it might appear dark, there is a beautiful opportunity for all of us, regardless of our age, to bring light onto the planet, to bring hope onto the planet. So spend whatever days the Lord's going to allow you doing that. You won't be disappointed.